What's up, guys? WhoNeedsMeta here. So today we're gonna do a replay review of this duel between ShamWow and Shadow Mike. ShamWow came up with this really cool quick draw Machina deck that I really like, and I kind of wanted to go over the game that I happened to jump into and watch. So let's kind of get right into it. This is a really cool deck. I really like it. Shadow Mike's gonna be playing a hero zombie build. So let's kind of see how the deck operates and what it's designed to do. So we're gonna start off. Sham's going to start off with Foolish Burial, and he's going to go for Dandelion. And we're essentially going to go ahead and get our tokens and start with the standard Drill Warrior play. This deck does a really cool job utilizing Drill Warrior and Quick Draw Synchron, because Drill Warrior can add back Quick Draw, and because Quick Draw is a machine, you can pitch it for Fortress when it's dead, so you have this small Machina engine. The deck does tend to struggle when it doesn't have cards like Shell, though. But the fact that we're able to go through so many cards turn one. We've already gone through all of our shells. We didn't even normal summon. And we have Ryko and Token. So we're going to see Shadow Mike T-set with Mirror Force and Sangan. Interesting to see that he didn't go for Reaper. But I believe his play is to get him to pop this Sangan and then try and mind, to search out Plague and then mind and sync with that. So that is an option. So Drill Warrior is going to come back, and we have a couple options. We're going to grab Quick Draw because it's better than Danny. We don't need the tokens at the moment. And then we do have this Machina Fortress, so we have access to that as well. So we're going to go ahead and Drill Warrior. And we do that first when we flip this to play around Torrential Tribute, of course, so that if we flip it, we don't lose our Drill Warrior to a TT. And milling something like Debris Dragon isn't actually bad because we can grab that off of Drill Warrior when it comes back. And then again, we are going to pitch Quick Draw for Machina Fortress, and we're going to start getting in there. So it's going to be Sangan. We're going to trigger Sangan. Shadow Mike's going to trigger Sangan. He's going to go for Pyramid Turtle, which is a pretty interesting play. See what he ends up trying to do in terms of protecting it. He's going to draw Plague Spreader Zombie. So he's going to set just to set Pyramid Turtle, no back row, and in the end phase, we're going to be able to flip Ryko down here. And that way that we can mitigate that. Drill Warrior is going to come back, and because we have access to so many good cards here, so we're going to see. And he's going to grab Caius. So this allows us to use our token for something of value here. So we could sack the token for Caius and then still keep Ryko if our opponent drops scores, which is really cool. So we're going to get 24, 24, and 25, which is not enough for game, even with the Ryko if we chose not to mill. So we're going to do this with Drill Warrior. We're going to pitch MST and protect it so that we can essentially have attack for game no matter what the opponent does here, no matter what Shadow Mike does. Rhoda for Stratos. Mind Control Caius, and then I guess normal Plague, which is pretty good. So we get Dark End here, which is pretty cool. Dark End is going to allow us to hit this Fortress, and because Fortress is mandatory, it'll put us at 3 for Dark Armed. Shout out to the Dueling Book algorithm, always allowing zombies to open Dark Armed. It's definitely fair and balanced and really solid. Again, Fortress is mandatory. You can't choose to not pop. So that this way we can summon Dark Armed Dragon, banish the Dark End, which is actually cool that you could banish Dark End because it was properly summoned. We could summon it off return, which is pretty cool. So you have that and Pyramid Turtle, which are both now return targets, and that card's not going to cost you anything. Unfortunately, though, because Drill Warrior's ability to have an attack directly, now this became super irrelevant because we have Heavy Storm. So we're going to see you go for the Debris Dragon for the follow play, and then effect to attack directly. And I believe, yeah, Heavy Storm is going to end the game. So getting into game 2, Shadow Mike is going to go first. And so his hand is actually fairly solid here. Unfortunately, he top decks Mizuki here for turn, which is really bad because with the Future Fusion, you can no longer send it to send Gaia. You no longer have access to Gaia. I guess you do if you play Card Trooper, but you're going to typically go for Ab-Zero. So he reveals Gaia, goes, oh wait, I drew Mizuki, so we're going to reveal Ab-Zero. And we're going to send Diva. And we're going to set, we have a couple things we could Stratos if we wanted to, but I feel like that's not very good. We're going to go with Goblin Zombie first off. This will get us access to Plague Spreader, or which is really good with the Zombie Master that we have in hand. So it makes sense to go that route. ShamWow here down at the bottom opened pretty poorly. This is something that can happen with this deck. It could just it can open, you know, a bunch of stuff that doesn't really do anything. But fortunately, the deck has plenty of stuff that does do things. So we're going to go Stratos for Prodigy here for Shadow Mike. And we're going to see. So this is actually interesting here. There is a theory of not attacking. I understand that you could clearly see your opponent open bad, but you could give them Dandelion, Shell, just any amount of things that can generate advantage. So it may not be worth attacking. In this instant, it actually even helped ShamWow because he's going to draw another brick. We don't need that. So we're going to finally get something with this hand. But we're just going to pass. Because you can go Quick Draw, sack for Caius in this play. Like Quick Draw, Force, Caius, MST, this Deep Prison. Which is a play. But we'll see kind of what else he decides to do. Go for Ab-Zero, and that's going to get hit with Bottomless, which makes a lot of sense. You don't have a field to protect, so use that as soon as possible. Shadow Mike's field is just super insulated right now with 2 Searchers. So he's like Caius-proof. Unfortunately, we lose Gear Frame off of Goblin Zombie. So that is a good top deck that you're going to lose. And then he's going to Book of Moon the Stratos. So we're going to see Volcanic Shell, which is going to help us immensely with the Quick Draw here. So this is going to allow us to maintain card advantage if we choose to go the route of Quick Draw and Quick Draw sack for Caius, because that'll allow us to banish one of them. Once you banish is pretty interesting. So he knows that his opponent has Mizuki, most likely. So banishing Goblin Zombie is not as good because he tried to reveal Gaia, and then he was like, oh, I can't do that because the Earth is in my hand. So he probably knows that Mizuki is in the hand. So we're going to pay 5 to get Shell and move forward here. Then we're going to sack for Caius, and then we're going to banish Sangan, which makes sense to go over Goblin Zombie, like I just said. And so hitting the Stratos makes sense as well. And then you could set Mirror Force. Or see Allure of Darkness. Probably banish the Prodigy. It's not really doing too much for you, especially with no like Tribute Monster hand, no Caiuses. Alright, so we're going to see a set Mizuki here. And because we've already seen 2 Caius, it's unlikely that either of these are going to be Caius. So this is an interesting play that happens here with Sham. He chooses to attack the Mizuki with Dust Shoot in hand, drawing Dust Shoot for turn. I almost consider hitting Goblin Zombie, because if there is a threat that they hit, you're able to Dust Shoot it back, which for me feels good. I know he's going to draw to something, but leaving this Searcher up leaves you vulnerable to that Brio play, and you only have Mirror Force, which is, again, is susceptible to Brio. So that is something to consider. And then, yeah, he's going to obviously preemptively flip it because he's drawing to 4, so we're going to shotgun that Dust Shoot. And we're going to leave them with Gores, Miracle, and Burial, all of which are really good. Burial doesn't, or Miracle's going to give Burial, like, put stuff back, but we're going to want to use Mizuki first, so wait for Goblin Zombie to hit the graveyard, of course. And then this is the Gaia Knight. So we're going for Gaia instead of Ab-Zero because this is game, and it backs it up with Solemn Judgment, so it doesn't matter what this back row is. So this combination here is game. So Mirror Force, Solemn Judgment, and that's enough for game. So a really solid play with the Judgment, but there is maybe that Trap Dust Shoot play could have been something to keep an eye on. So again, this is what you want in the ideal hand. Again, Quick Draw Dandy, of course, is broken, but the fact that we have Shell plus Fortress for when we revive, we're able to do so much. So we're going to declare Quick Draw it as a declared effect and start just like game 1. Go ahead and get in there. Get in with Drill. Banish the Drill to protect it. Get Shell. Shell pay 5. Grab another Shell. And then we're able to normal summon Stardust Dragon. our normal summon Debris Dragon to make Stardust Dragon. It's the only real dragon. I'm not going to make Red Dragon here. Turn 1. Unfortunately, for Sham here, he has Bottomless and Stardust, and Shadow here has Gale, which is just going to, tear that apart. Again, Dueling Book algorithm giving us Dark Arm Dragon in our opening hand. So we see double Chain D in Shadow Mike's hand. Setting both is pretty interesting. The Might Brick especially. I like to play like if I screw myself if I draw Gores and I can't do anything. So having both of these seems not so great, but it does make sense if he fears the MST and he wants to, and he thinks his opponent, if he thinks Sham here is going to grab Quickdraw and then summon Quickdraw, and then you could Chain D it and hit every single target, and this plays around MST. So there is options there, but he's going to go ahead and do the shell play, of course. But we're not going to go into Quickdraw. We're going to go into Gear Frame, which gets us Fortress. And there actually is an argument for grabbing Force straight off here and then going here and here and like pitching Quickdraw on Fortress. And then you have the ability to revive it if something happens. But we're going to go Fortress and Fortress. But again, you could do that again next turn because you have Drill Warrior. So both plays make sense. It's just what you believe these two cards are. And because so many things have happened in this game right now, based on what ShamWow has done, he's summoned Fortress, he's attacked with a big monster, he's brought back his Drill Warrior. I feel like these are bluffs. They're nothing. I don't know what they are, but I feel like they're nothing based on what's happening in the game because he hasn't activated them and so many things have happened and we've made so many advantageous plays. So Drill's going to grab Debris Dragon here. We can actually make a synchro if we want to. We could get rid of this. Drill Warrior and Shell. And we're just going to keep using it to play around these. They can potentially Mirror Force value, but like I said, I don't believe it's Mirror Force. I don't believe it's anything at this point in the game. He's going to search Crow. So this is to just funnel the third Dark. We can hit when we draw here. So we're going to let Shadow Mike draw, and he's just going to shotgun this Crow. That's what would make the most sense, and probably makes the most sense to hit Dandelion, but Fortress also makes sense because he knows that the Quick Draw is in hand, so you could potentially stop that second Fortress. But we're going to go with Dandelion. We go Brain Control here, and Prio Effect on the Dark Arm. This is a misplay here, targeting this set card, because you don't want to target the chainable card. If it's Torrential or Bottomless, those are the only real summon responsive cards that it could be, and they're going to get chained to your summon regardless. So you should be going for a free pop on your Prio, because if you Torrentials, like, it doesn't really matter because it's getting flipped. So you might as well hit like this Gear Frame or something like that. So if it is Torrential, then it gets destroyed or whatever. You just get like free value. You want to make sure you're getting that value. So no normal summons there, so it's just going to be setting the Turtle. And Drill Warrior again is going to trigger. And this time we're going to grab Fortress again so that we could summon it with Quick Draw. Drill Warrior is going to activate again, pitching Debris Dragon, and then we're going to get this in there with the double Fortress. Double Fortress is really insulated. Even if it is Mirror Force, we have Book, so we can save one of them, which is kind of nice. We can save the one that's like not equipped or whatever, and then keep the other equipped one, and we just have so much advantage. So I believe here that Shadow probably has to draw a monster in order to get out of this to be able to use Zombie Master's effect. And he's going to draw Heavy Storm, which isn't going to get it done. Yeah, he's going to show the chain disappearances and scoop it up. So if you want me to do more replay reviews or anything like that, we do leave an email link in the description where you can email deck lists, but you can email replays if you think you have like a cool deck idea. It doesn't even have to be Edison format. It can be any format. But if you'd like us to do more replay reviews, be sure to throw them in the comment section below, and thanks for watching, guys.